how do you process black immigration?
Well, even Marcus Garvey, who was originally from Jamaica, was against mass
and was deported back to Jamaica.
Yeah, he was against mass immigration. Yeah, listen, it's about heritage. It's about our lineage. Who are we? We're Black Americans. I can trace my family back, my ancestors back to the 1700s. Okay? So we're Black Americans. We have been here since the founding of the country. That matters, does it not? Does it matter that our parents, our ancestors were here since the founding, since the 1600s, since the 1700s? Is that relevant? Is that significant? Yes, I think it is.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look, people who break the law break the law. I don't care if you're orange.
Right.
If you come over here, you come over here illegally, you're still taking a job. Let's keep in mind that you have employers who will prefer illegal immigrants over natural citizens, and that is still the case even if their skin is darker than mine. So it's still hurting everyone. And then a lot of the illegal immigrants that come over here and their skin is dark, they don't see themselves as being the same as I am. They don't identify with the Black American experience.
Because they have their culture.
Because that's completely different. And so that still has a significant impact on the financial stability and ability of individuals who come from that lineage in the American experience, their ability to pull themselves out of the lower rungs of society.
You know, Donna and Kathleen, your comments are very much consistent with comments that are made by Black leaders and Black newspapers 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Du Bois, at the same time he was making the comment, they said that the cutting off of white labor has been the salvation of Black workers. But at the same time, in that same article, he said, he did kind of say, unfortunately, sort of had a little race consciousness. He says, unfortunately, that means Blacks from the Caribbean are cut off too. But he goes, he distinguished that was a racial issue, but African Americans are not about race; it's about history, and the key thing was the history was the people whose families came through slavery, and for so the point of these Black leaders and newspapers 100 years ago was that immigration policy should be about helping African Americans, not based on their race, but based on their experience,
their heritage.
And it had their heritage, and it had nothing to do with helping somebody who happened to be Black from some other country.
Right.
So anyway, it's just very interesting hearing your talk because it fits so much with whether basically. I'm sure that you can find leaders that were more race conscious, but one of the things that I found in some of my recent studies is that the Black leaders and editors, they work so hard to really get away from racial distinctions and idea of race, because that was something that this whole idea of scientific racism had been so harmful to African Americans. And as it turns out, the scientific community eventually got out of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, my ancestors didn't slave and sweat and toil and all that hard work that they did for Joanne Reed to have a job. She's from the Congo. They worked for Black Americans to have jobs. They did all that for Black Americans, not people from the Congo who are first generation Americans. Not even Kamala Harris, who's Indian American and Jamaican.
Right.
My ancestors didn't work for Kamala Harris to have these benefits. They worked for Black Americans to have benefits. I think even Obama is not even a Black American. This is why using color, the skin color, is not sufficient.
It's American experience.
It's confusing.
Right.
And this is why I say white Americans and Black Americans have been in America the longest since its founding. And that is significant. That matters. That history matters. And so this is why, and I don't know why so many, and, I want to get into this issue about Black women, Black American women supporting. I know it's nonprofit, but Black American women don't understand most of them, some do, but most of them don't understand. They think everything is about skin color. And that's a superficial analysis of the situation. They're not looking at the history. They don't know the history. And they're just so wedded to the political left position, embracing all of their policies. And their policies have been detrimental to Black America. They need to get away from that embrace of all these policies that are the detriment. So what I'm thinking, they're not doing their homework. They're not reading this cast your bucket where you are. Cast down your bucket where they're not reading this history. They're being superficial. They're just watching the television and going along with what the politicians say. That is not sufficient.